What up?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Hello.
Well.
Howdy. So you guys can see we got John from Torrent Outdoors on with us today. But before we get started, we're just going to kind of let some people hop in on the live, drop a comment in the chat, let us know where you're watching from. And yeah.
Oh, man, we got Ethan on here from Nashville.
Okay. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee.
One of my guys.
Okay. Ethan Jett. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
Scott
Ethan
Gibbons
is with Rogue Fishing as well. So
Okay.
one of our other sponsors.
Yeah, he's all great sponsors. Love my Rogue fishing equipment. I can tell you that. Coming from someone who recently lost a phone. So.
No, you know, I told you I dropped my phone in the lake and Ryan found it like 8 hours later and it was still working.
Oh wow!
I dropped it right at the ramp and it sat in some hydro all day. And
I was not that lucky. Not that lucky and unfortunate, but I did invest in a Rogue tether. And we got Nicholas Beltran. Is it Beltran?
Hey. Yeah, Nick caught a giant barracuda the other day.
I saw that on Facebook. I saw
out in Biscayne Bay.
Yeah.
He's down my way though.
Yeah. I was watching some of his videos. He was actually doing a video demonstration on the Rogue, the tether that you drag, like the drag, that drags your kayak. That thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've been looking at getting something like that to where when I'm pushing my kayak off the trailer, I can go all the way back and it kind of, bungee its way out to where I don't have to get soaking wet in this cold weather. Because I don't have the big NRS boots like everyone else does.
One day you'll invest. We've been trying to get you to buy them.
John, us kayakers, we have issues. We like in a boat, you can just kind of throw your boat in and kind of drop the motor and go. Us kayakers, we have to weather the 40, 50 degree water by launching our kayaks sometimes. And, I hate there's nothing more I hate fishing in cold weather and windy weather is wet feet. That is the most.
You don't use like river waders or something.
Most normal people do. I haven't invested in those yet because I normally fish with barefoot or my sandals. You know what I mean? So winter is not winter here in Florida, but it has been pretty cold this year. So yeah,
it's a no wearing waders in a kayak though.
Does it fill up or something? Dangerous?
Yeah, just a chance of filling up. I think NRS or AFCO has like for all those cold water guys, they got that full suit and stays pretty watertight.
Like scuba gear.
Yeah, essentially. I think what's his name? Like Chuck Earls, I think his name is. He's an Old Town guy. I think he rocks the same kayak I do. He's doing water, like jumping out of his kayak up in like Lake Michigan or up north, and it's like 20 degrees outside, and he's just floating in the water, just chilling.
Hey, Ethan said he's got something coming for us kayak anglers with the trailer. So that would be awesome.
Is it a one?
He said
crab like the boat guy. That'd be awesome.
We need something. I'm telling you right, man, because I'm struggling.
All right, so I can't reveal what it is, but I've seen it and it's really cool. We're all going to have one. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. They're always coming up with some new and innovative things to do, and they got some pretty. I'm just going to say this. I saw it on their Facebook page. They got some pretty sick hats that they dropped just after. I think it was the KBF National Championship. I'm a sucker for hats, so I got like 100 of them. So I have to get a couple of them too and start wearing them. But we got quite a few people jumping on.
What are we at? It's not pop. We got 10 on right now, but it seems like more than that.
Nicholas Beltran dropped a link. I'm for Crocs Men Pacer Light Ride Pacers. I have to look at that. See what that is. Jonathan Ellingwood, what's going on, man? I see that you plan on coming up and fishing Lake Okeechobee, which that's awesome. Looking forward to having you. So, And Ethan's coming down to fish the Hobie, right? Is that yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, I haven't signed up for that one yet. I know they said they like doubled their entries for this year, as far as like who can enter and fish those events. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm obviously registered for the KBF event that's happening here this coming weekend. So Polk County Trail Stop and the Tinvitational Trail Stop 1 and 2 and the Tinvitational is this weekend here in Polk County on the Kissimmee chain. Or well, there's quite a
Polk
few
County.
different lakes. Huh?
Yeah.
It's just Polk
Just
County.
Polk County, yeah.
Yeah, in Kissimmee. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't get a real good chance to pre-fish a lot of it with everything that was going on. So we'll see if everything holds from the one time I fished it. So. But
I know of some spots.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I know some spots, but I
It
also
holds a
hate
bunch
seeing
of
my spots getting fished. Huh?
bunch of 10 to 14 inchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. I'm going to be in Georgia. I'm driving to Georgia tomorrow, and I'll be gone until Sunday. So,
yeah. Oh, for work.
yeah, for work. Yep.
Awesome. Well, I think we got quite a few people in here, Todd. If you wanna kick it off, introduce John, and kind of take it over from here, and we'll just kind of sit in the back and ask questions. And for our folks that are watching, you guys, if you have questions, comments, or like ideas that you want to run by John or kind of pick his brain, this is what he's here for. So, yeah, Todd, take it away.
Well, I'm honored to introduce my good friend John Nelson with Torrent Outdoors. Met John 2 or 3 years ago. We were fishing a kayak tournament back in the Nashville area, and John is from Mount Juliet area. There's where he's located in Middle Tennessee, and so anyway, got to meet John. We've built a pretty good friendship there, and I love his stuff. And John, I'll let you take it over, and if you would just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started Torrent Outdoors, what you come from, where you come from, all that good stuff, and how you got to this business. So,
yeah, no problem. Well, hello everybody. Yeah, so I live in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, which is right outside of Nashville, and I'm only going to be here for about 3 more weeks. So we'll be moving to a farm, and I got a nice little pond for testing some lures. But originally, I'm from Wisconsin, and I spent all my summers in northern Wisconsin, up in a lot of those glacial lakes. And just as a kid, I would always fool around with different lures and splice them together, try different things. So my background is fishing. I fished a lot growing up, northern pike, muskie, largemouth, smallmouth, walleye. So I had a good opportunity to try a lot of different species. And in 2009, eventually made my way to Tennessee. So I've been fishing the tournament trails for a long time, since like 2009, and just started looking at different baits and thinking, man, I wish this did this, and I wish this did that. I wish this looked this way. And then finally I stopped wishing. And so I started looking at baits that were out there, and then I started thinking about what could I do to take something and not completely reinvent the wheel. But I started looking at some of the designs and thinking, man, if they did this and this. So what I did after years of just trying to wiggle my way into the fishing community in the industry, I started working with software engineers. I kind of tried that myself and quickly realized that wasn't my expertise. So I started hiring people that could do the CAD drawings. So I'd spec it all out. So every design that you see is original to me. That's one thing I like to say about the company. I know there's a lot of companies out there that pour a lot of good lures and pour tons of different colors. That's just a little different than us. My emphasis is on the design. And then as we grow, we release new colors. And obviously we try to release the colors, the intro colors that, if you do market research, are usually the most popular for the size of bait, the style of bait. So I started working with software engineers and taking my drawings and making them into a 3D modeling. And then I would have them send me samples and test samples and say, hey, we need to make this longer, make this shorter, make this wider, a little more durable, things like that. And before you know it, put a stamp of approval on it, and then we just go into production. So that's kind of how in the last this is going into my 4th year as a company. And it's been going well. So I've spent a lot of time investing into my local fishing community. One thing I love to do, and I'll talk about kind of our connections here, is I sponsor the Mount Juliet fishing team, which is really a full county. And then there's a Sumner County fishing team. So I sponsor those kids and try to give them some baits, work with them. I've taken some fishing. And then I also sponsor just some trails like Fishers of Men. I jumped on board with a couple of them. Also, the largest guide business in Nashville is Brian Carper's Guide Service, and we're good friends through Bible study and through fishing. And we have a little partnership where all the guides use my lures. And if you jump on his Facebook page, you'll see there's a lot of fish catches, and I love it. It's pretty cool to take what you put on paper, then all of a sudden it's in the hands of the youth who then fall in love with the outdoors and experience the success using your baits. So it's a pretty cool progression there. So, and awesome. Like I said, we're mainly do all our sales online. We stock up at a local boat dealership here called Anderson Marine. But we're starting to get phone calls from different bait shops, working with someone now in Gunnersville. So we'll see.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So why don't you give us a little rundown on the different baits for some of those that don't know them, don't know Torrent, and don't know the baits, and just kind of walk us through a few of them, and maybe you can kind of tell us how you rig them and how you use them.
Okay. I'll start with the one that most people know about. It's my Striker 4.0. See if I can hold it still for you. It's basically a 4-inch bait where the front half is ribbed, but it has a little more meat for a lot of different rigging options. From the ribbed, from the ribbed, it transitioned to the deeper rings. And if you can see that, I know it's going to be kind of in and out, so I apologize. I'll try to put on my hat or something.
Yeah, I'll try and pull it up for you too.
Okay. So if you notice, it's got a little stinger, and at the end of the stinger, it has like a teardrop, a little bit of weight. And so what I started doing is that this was when the Ned rig craze came out, and it just seemed like the Ned rig craze was something to pay attention to. And I wanted something that hit the market of like more of a shaky head / Ned rig bait, and I knew that would hit the market well. And this was kind of the bridge the gap with the two, because you can customize them, and it really easy. You could pinch that off, take off a 1/2 inch, and all of a sudden you got a little Ned rig bait. But I will say that I designed it around. I got a tungsten head, and this is a 1/6 ounce tungsten head. This is an original design to me, but this is one I fished with. And I wanted to design it so that it would sit perfectly on that hook. And I will say, like, most of the kids that just get into fishing in these little high school and junior high teams, this is a great bait for them to use because, number one, it's going to get you a lot of bites. They'll even get the bluegills to hit it. So they start learning the feel of fishing. And number two, they're going to lakes they've never been to. So if you're throwing a little finesse worm like this, you have an opportunity to start getting some bites, getting some confidence, and then just progress from there. I'll try different rigging options for them. But I will say that a lot of the kids at the Mount Juliet fishing team have these in their boat, and that's pretty cool. So that's kind of the breakdown of the Striker 4.0. Now, you can use it as a drop shot. When I go up north, guys, I fish it as a drop shot a lot. And I catch a lot of smallies. So here I have it where I dip the tail in a little bit of orange. And it catches a lot of fish in the drop shot, especially with the live scope. I don't know who all has live scope here, and most of my fishing, to clarify some things, most of my fishing does come from a bass boat. I did fish my one kayak tournament, and I tell you what, I threw a buzz bait all day. And by the end of the day, y'all, the shoulder. It was a different angle. That's one thing I didn't realize. The one I sat in, I had my arms up higher, but that's beside the point. But yeah, great for drop shot. Great for Ned rig / shaky head. A lot of people like to put it on a chatterbait. Todd, I think you may have said that before. You like throwing it on it.
Yeah.
I put your secrets out there, didn't I?
That's all right. I've shared them on here before.
I did just like that.
Yeah.
And then I also got colors like this. This is my good morning. So you got, it's kind of like the morning dawn, like Aaron Martin's. What a great guy he was. But this has inspired the color of my good morning. So that's the 4.0. Do you want me to keep going on, Todd?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Share with us.
So the 4.0, and then I knew like, okay, so that's the finessing, and I know that is a great option. There's that hook right there. If you want to scroll back up, that's a tungsten head. It's a wide gap hook, and that I designed the length of the 4.0 to fit on that perfectly.
They're deadly.
So
it is a deadly head. I love that head right there. The only downside I will say, and which it needs to be the thin wire, but the good and the bad is that if you do get hung up, you can almost pull it out, bend it back, and go back to fishing. But you got to be careful. You can't horse them in with that.
Yeah, and if you bend it too many times with a thin wire hook, you could break it too. Yep. So, but the whole point is that it's thin wire means it's gonna stick them pretty good without too big of a hook set. And so, like I said, I'm a soft plastics company, but I offer tungsten because this is what I fish, and I figured this is something that pairs well, and it gets their hands on them. Because I know there's a lead. Then they started pouring lead like this, and that's fine. I mean, if you want to go with lead and save some money, but when I get it to the hands of these kids and they feel the tungsten, so they're learning feel. They're learning. Okay, this is a hard bottom. They're learning. Oh, I got some gravel, or it's a rock, or oh, it's mucky. We need to move on, or it's a great option for them. And then, matter of fact, though, I got some pictures today. I forgot to tell you guys. My dad and my uncle are fishing in Florida today, and they were throwing this on a 3/0 hook, which is a pretty big hook for this, but you can get away with it. A 3/0 hook on a Texas rig, and they ended up getting. I think he got like an 18-incher today and a bunch of shorts. But my dad, I will say this: my dad loves throwing Texas rig. So I had to make sure there was plenty of length for him to get his, like I said, a 3/0 is just about as much as you want to put in this one, if that makes sense. So from the 4.0, if you want to look at and 4.0 just means a 4-inch. The next, I have similar qualities. I designed the 6-inch bait, and Florida was actually what inspired me, because I know you guys flip a lot of stickworms, and I think I was watching an Elite series and they were fishing. I can't recall where they were fishing, maybe the St. John's. Don't quote me on that, but I saw they were flipping stickworms, and I was like, I'll take the 4-inch and make it 6. And if you look at it closely, though, there's different elements to it. If you look at the 4-inch bait, where did I just set that? It has a different type of head than the 6-inch bait. This one is rounded a little bit more, and that's because I use it for drop shot quite a bit. This one, if you notice, is a blunt head. The reason it's a blunt head is because, number one, I'll use screw lock a lot, and you can actually throw this like a floating worm. My plastic is buoyant. I don't put any salt in it. Makes it more durable and more buoyant. And you can throw this on this one's just rigged on a little screw out head or hook. And when you rig it, you can kind of rig it a little crooked, like put the hook into the side on the ribs, and then you got an opportunity to snap it around above grass and things like that. Great for over the beds. I mean, it's just all around. And you can do some things like this too. Like if you want to dye half of it in orange. I do this in our lakes here, and we do have some grass. And when they start moving shallow, pre-spawn and the spawn, I'll throw this and just snap it around like a floating worm. And when that orange disappears, it's game on. So, but one of my favorite ways to throw this is I actually will flip it. So there's times where I put like a 4-aught flipping hook in this, and I'll peg a tungsten head. And so if you're fishing, yep, Ethan just said Nico rig. I'm going to get to that. If you're fishing up, this is, I guess this would be mainly kayakers. So, but we fished team tournaments. And so if you're flipping wood, you might have one guy that's flipping a jig or something bulkier, like a rodent, or in this case, and I'll talk about it, my timber craw. It's not a bad idea for the guy in the back to throw like a worm. And this one I call stick worm with pizzazz. And like I said, it has the same elements. You got the front half, it's got the ribs. Then the back half has got the rings. And then you got the stinger with the little teardrop at the end. It just gives it a little more kick. But yeah, so you could do a weightless. You could throw it on a Carolina rig. You could put it on a wobble head. You know, if you're dragging it, you can do a wobble head. And you can actually do a big drop shot. I do that too. I'll put like a 3-aught hook in there, weedless, and do a drop shot with a little bigger profile. And Ethan made a comment, and he's right about this. Is one of my favorite things to do is Nico rig. And if you notice that with these ribs, you can put those O-rings on there, and you put the O-ring on there and you put your hook through it so it's up like this, and then you just stick your weight up in the head and it plumps out. I fish a lot of rocks up north, so I like the idea of putting something in there and plumping it out so it doesn't get hung in the rocks as much if you're kind of bouncing it on the bottom. But I don't know. I'm thinking a lot of you guys are fishing grass and stuff. It's not a bad way to fish like edges. Let it drop down docks, things like that in the Nico style. And it's got a lot of action when you just shake it a little and kick that tail. Let me pause for a second, Todd, if you have anything you want to add there. So any questions?
I mean, that's just awesome. Or if anybody's got any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments and we'll pop them up and get them answered for sure.
I know June bug's a big color in Florida, so that's on the docket. So I really encourage you guys to give it a shot. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong though, like St. John's, you can throw like the black and blue, really looks good in that kind of, what is it, like tannic water? Is that the right thing to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
June bug, black and blue, red bug, it's all money.
Yep. So we have black and blue. We have plum, which is on the screen. We have our watermelon, red flake, and then I have a green pumpkin. But there's a big name in the kayak industry that came up to me in an expo in Lanier, and he bought several. And I don't know if I should put him out there like that, but it has something to do with fluke. And so, yep. I wanted to design something that when you pick it up, you go, I haven't seen this before. Now, of course, like any other lure, there's always elements of like reinventing the wheel a little bit. But if you notice the blunt head, because the reason I did is because I was always biting the end off. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'll just start it without biting the head off. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm reading messages too. But I also, if you notice though, I wanted to be able to put a flipping hook in here. And so when I do a 4-aught flipping hook, let's see if I got one here. Yeah, I do. I got a 4-aught flipping hook. I put this thing in here, and we fish a lot of laydowns up here in Old Hickory. And I wanted to have a straight shank hook, because you hook a 5 or 6 pounder in that wood, you got to have, the strength to get it out. So I rig it with a flipping hook, and that's not a bad way to go. I know a lot of people do the wide gap hook, and that's fine. But as you can see here, I get it straight there. I'll rig it like this, and then I'll just pin the tungsten to the head there and flip it. Wood, brush, grass, you name it. And when it hits, guys, I mean, it's doing something. you can actually just leave it. If you're fishing a bed, you can flip it on that bed and just let it sit there and just shake it.
Oh wow.
I do something on bed. I don't know how you guys feel about bed fishing, but I do something on bed fishing. I'll throw it on the bed like that. And because I've designed it with the little tail, either the 4 or the 6 or even the timber craw, I'll shake the bottom of it. So I'll hit the back and forth on the bottom of my rod, and I'm sending that line, that vibration in the line. And if you have something like this, you just want to keep it in place, but you're giving it a little bit of a dance. And those fish just they don't like it, obviously. And when you find it on the sweet spot, they don't want it sitting there shaking, shimmy like that, and they'll pick it up. So
We did have one question in here, John. That said, "What's the scent on these?"
the scent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a shrimp craw combination. Most of the scents will come off eventually, but it's good to get it out of the package. I like to cover up that plasticky smell that baits will have. And the reason for the ribs, if you look at all my baits, they have ribs. I use the KVD sticks that you can wipe on it. I know there's a lot of like back and forth and talk about scents and what bass pick up and what they don't. I'm a big believer that if I can cover up scents, like my hands, or if someone in your boat sprays sunscreen and the wind blows it on you, that's like the kiss of death for me. And I like to just be able to add like an adhesive scent to the ribs. But it comes with like a shrimp craw scent.
Cool.
So if that answers the question.
Excellent. Yes, sir. All right, so let's, I guess, move on to your next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have, let's see, I got the timber craw. Timber craw was one of those things that originated for me for like wanting to get it into tighter places, but still not be a tube, and not be like a rage tail. I wanted something that kind of held in between there. So I designed the timber craw to have a cylindrical body, and I wanted it like I wanted to hold a big flipping hook. So if I have that same 4/0 hook, you can put up to a 5, and I think you could even get in a 6 if you're feeling froggy. But if you notice here, that's a 4/0 hook, and you still got plenty of plastic to put it in. One thing I noticed is some of the flipping baits that they make. I mean, if you bite it once, you can barely get the hook back in it. So I thought as a fisherman, if I set the hook on a fish and I tear this, I can bite it off and still use my 4/0 hook without having to replace the bait. Because there's some baits that you're already maxed out on the length, and if you tear it, you bite it off. Now your hook's down in the pinchers. And so I try to think of an economical way too for fishermen with their baits. But again, I wanted a cylindrical body that held a big hook. And if you notice the way I designed, sorry, my dog's barking in the background. You notice that the pinchers come off the back instead of out from the sides. I wanted something more aerodynamic for two things. One, like flipping a tube. In the wood, I wanted to get in and out of sticks and things like that. So I wanted, when it fell, I wanted those claws to kind of hang back, if that makes sense. And for you Florida guys and for you punchers, this is a perfect punching bait. All you have to do is, if you want to take out some of the these little sidearm kickers like that, and you put your big tungsten weight right there, you can punch it right through the slop, thick stuff. And again, it holds that good hook that you need to get a mile there. If you look close at the bait there, you'll see that it's attached. There's like 4 different attachments by the head, and then the claws are actually attached. You can keep it that way. For us, when we fish that colder water, you can keep it that way, and it's got more of a beaver style. You don't have as much stuff moving, if that makes sense. It'll still kick a little on the outside, like the wing out, but you don't have the kick like this yet. And so if you're in colder water and you want more of a slow movement, and that's one way to do it is to keep them together. Now, if you peel them apart right here, and up in here, as you pull it, it's going to kick like a speed craw. And so when I flip wood, especially like if I'm flipping on a river situation, I'm usually going for the initial drop. And that's why I wanted something that could get through some of those sticks and those laydowns, and it stays behind it. I wanted to get it down there and try to get that initial reaction bite. But if I don't get them on the reaction, I want to be able to stroke it and kick those legs a couple times and just see if I can get them to jump on it that way. This isn't just for flipping like Texas rig. One of my favorite ways to fish it, and I designed for this too, is that wobble head. Biffle made that famous. It's in a situation where you Carolina rig, you can also throw this wobble head. And I wanted to have enough of that plastic to hold a big hook. And then you're just dragging this. This is actually a tungsten version, but you're dragging this football style head over harder, humps and stuff. And that bait right there, you can either just drag it and kind of let it bounce around, or you can slow roll it and it'll just look like a craw scooting across the bottom. So those are like the styles of when it's like fixed, and that's the main reason for it. Of course, we have a little tungsten jig. This is our little, this one's a 3/8 ounce, but they're great for the back of a skirted jig. Again, you can keep them together if you just want a little bulk. Excuse me. You want a little bulk, but you don't want a lot of action in those colder situations. And I know your Florida strain get grumpy, I've heard. So here's an opportunity to throw something that's bulky, it doesn't like turn them off, but it's an easier meal. So back of a jig is good. Texas rig is good. Wobble head, it's good. I put it on a buzz bait. I don't know where I put it, but I take my white one. This is still on don't mind this, but I take the pinchers off and I take the skirt off on the buzz bait, and I throw this on the buzz bait. And that's probably all I throw is a buzz bait with my white timber craw. We just catch a lot of fish doing it that way up here. And then of course, I think you guys use a lot of chatterbaits. We use a lot of chatterbaits, and it's a great bait to throw on the back of a chatterbait. You can do it the horizontal way, and that helps it from rolling over, especially if you're taking grass and stuff. But you can also, depending on the action of your chatterbait, there's times where I've taken, let's say, this white one, and I turn it this way and put it on the chatterbait, and this will kick back and forth underneath. So it'll do more of a vertical kick versus the horizontal. So that's the timber craw. So you got the Striker Series worm, which my oldest daughter named, was pretty cool. I forgot to tell you guys, we're a family business. So it's literally just me, my wife, and my kids. That we're a big believer in family and promoting that. And putting my daughters help me at fishing expos. A matter of fact, at the Nashville Boat Show, my 10-year-old came to all 4 days, and she did all the transactions, cash and card. And
oh wow.
That's not like to pat myself on the back, but that's an encouragement to those who are raising children to get them involved in what you're doing and give them that experience to shake hands with people, look them in the eye, ask them cash or card. And my daughter will even say, I caught my PB on the Striker 4.0, and it's pretty cool. It's cool to watch them thrive. So that's a side note. So
I noticed something the other day, John. Didn't you have her? She was doing something with the swapping shop. She had her own booth at the Mount Juliet swapping shop or something.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of lures like everybody else in the garage, and we're getting ready to move. And I asked her if she wanted her own booth, and she said, of course. She said, I got to raise money to buy more chickens. I was like, game on. So we have chickens now, and I get to eat fresh eggs, but she wants to get more chickens. So I said, take whatever you want out of the garage. And she packed it all up. We went to the show. She had her own table, and she made like $100 that day. So
sweet.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
And I I shared with our crew too, whenever we brought you guys on board and mentioned that you guys are a family company. And I recall that they helped package and put together what you guys sent to us. So yeah, extend our gratitude to your family too. We appreciate all you guys have done for us so far here in Florida. So yeah, we appreciate that for sure.
Well, thanks for letting us jump on board. And again, like that's what I promote, like getting these kids involved in things like that, and with the outdoors and with opportunities for business and things like, and just I don't let them sit in front of a screen. My background too is a teacher and also as a pastor, so several elements there of why I do what I do with the family company. And I think my 4-year-old actually jumped into that and worked on that package. So that's pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Again, like that's just what we do. And so I encourage you guys to get your kids involved if you haven't. They'll jump in. Before you know it, they'll be buying chickens and selling lures.
Well, hey, the eggs are going to be worth more than the lures.
You're not kidding. When we go to the farm, she said, Dad, we're going from 4 to 40. So I said, sell some more lures, baby.
So my grandfather, he owned a chicken farm in Georgia, which is like 400,000, or it's like 90,000 chickens per chicken houses. So we had plenty of chickens growing up. So don't let it get too out of hand, because then you might start doing commercial chickens. So
I got too much fishing to do. So
hey.
I pour. No. Oh, I was going to say I pour some of my own baits in my garage. I have like some angling AI molds, and
oh, cool.
My daughter comes out there and she'll have me making baits for hours. She's like, I want to make this color. I want to make this color. And before I know it, I'm like giving baits away to these guys. Like I've gave Bailey and a bunch of the guys bags of baits because I got too many.
Yeah. They like the pretty ones.
You know? Oh yeah, for sure. I got some random pink lures made in my garage just hanging there.
If I showed you what Sean, if I showed you the prop bait that Sean gave me out of wood, it's literally purple. It's like the Morning Dawn that you're equivalent to Morning Dawn, but with sparkles on it, glitter. So
that was a rough bait. It's not the prettiest, but it works. No.
So yeah,
cool. Well, good. That was a good segment. And involve your kids.
That's right.
Next on the screen. So I designed this and prototype tested. It took me about a year, and I wanted a swim bait that had some similar elements to the rest of my baits with the bibs. I wanted a swim bait that had enough plastic in the front that you weren't tearing it up all the time, could hold some different, whether it's a jig head or if you wanted to do more of a screw lock head or Texas rig type stuff. So this is my Thresher 4.2. You'll notice anytime I have a number at the end, that's just talking about the length in inches. Not always exact, so please don't quote me on that. Like if it says 4.2 and it's a 4.21, I apologize, but I wanted to shorten it up. So my Thresher 4.2, it's something that, you know, I released in the fall, and I knew that'd be a good time because of a rig season. And here's my 4.2, and in this case, I got it rigged on an underspin. And what you'll notice right away is like there's some different elements that you don't normally see. You got the kicker tail off the back, and then you got the little fin on the top. And that's part of the name. When you hear Thresher 4.2, Thresher, there's a Thresher shark, and I hear people call it a baby shark because of the fin on top. But Thresher is just also, you know, just like the threshing room and a farm term. But I love this bait. Right now it's really killing up here in the Nashville area. Again, Brian Carper's guide service and all his guys are throwing it and catching hybrids, smallmouth, largemouth. I wanted to make a bait that wasn't so bulky. It was streamlined that you can use it like on the back of chatterbaits. I wanted to be able to put on the back of spinner baits, and I'll bring this back up in a second. I want to tell you about this one. And then, of course, the Alabama rig. Whether you call it a Tennessee rig, which is the 3, and again, I'll bring this back up and talk about it a little bit more. But I wanted to have swim baits that were pretty versatile. there's a pretty cool aspect to it that as I was designing it, again, I wanted to think more of an economical way. So I'll just pull this off. I would fish in the fall, and I'm throwing a swim bait on a jig head. And what you notice when you're fishing the fall on the schooling fish, they're starting to target some of those fish that are kind of floating, and that's where a fluke gets really hot. So if you notice with this, a lot of times a straight line swim bait won't catch them, but you want something that's dying, it's snapping back and forth, and you can actually just peel this tail right off. So if you take this and you just kind of, you can always use a scissors, but you can actually just pull this tail off, this paddle tail. And when I pull that paddle tail off, what you essentially got now is a fluke. And so I pull that paddle tail off and I rig it on like a little belly weighted hook, and I'm just snapping around like a fluke now. With a chatterbait with the paddle tail, it works good. But if you guys are into like scrounger heads, you need more of a straight tail worm or a straight tail swim bait. And so this gives you some versatility where you can throw this on the back of a scrounger head. And what some of you might notice too is you could throw this on a drop shot. Now you got a drop shot bait. And so I'm always interested as a fisherman tinkering. And so when I started designing this, I was like, you know what? I want to make a fluke out of it too. So I got a swim bait and a fluke. So that kind of gives that kind of a lead into why I designed it the way I did. So now you got yourself a fluke from a swim bait.
Ethan said it's a 2-in-1 bait is awesome for kayak anglers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can, and I'm unlike the bass world where guys put 300 pounds of baits and still use the same two. I know it's good for the kayak fishermen where you don't want to take a ton of stuff with you. And again, this guys, I'm speaking out of ignorance when I start talking about kayaks. So please, a little bit of grace for this bass boat guy. But I'm guessing you guys don't want to bring a ton of junk. You want to have it organized. I know there's organizers with those new boxes that Ethan uses with a nice Torrent Outdoors sticker on it. But there's things for organizing. And like he said, you get a couple packs of these and you're throwing them. Well, all of a sudden you see that they're hitting some dying minnows. You grab one of these, peel the tail off, and now you can work it like a fluke. So you got your minnow shooting around.
Flukes are on fire. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I love. Hey, if you go into my tackle, that's pretty. My soft plastic stint is flukes. So I'm gonna reload and use some of these now for sure.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Because I bought some and I didn't even think about removing the tail, the paddle tail to it now. So yeah, learning something new every single day. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And if you guys are on here, go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Because there was a time, it was probably before I jumped on here with you guys and your kayak trail, but I did a little video explaining how to go from the paddle tail to the fluke style. You notice, to kind of go back to it again, this, if you feel the head, I mean, it's good plastic here. It's not going to just tear real easy, especially with the Alabama rigs. So it's got the blunt head, so you can just butt it up real good with a jig head. Or if you do a little screw lock, it's got that blunt end, so you're not fighting to get that screw lock on straight. But then I, like all my other baits, right after that fin, I transition from the smooth to that ribbed again. And you'll see that ribbed goes through kind of my whole line of baits. And a big part of that too is that you continue to get that action. So you got durability.
The tails have been dancing, like every bait that you've held up so far. You're you're not even moving them, and the tail is just dancing.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. So I had to marry durability with action, and so there's a way to do that with your different types of plastics. But again, that can get really technical. But I wanted to do it with my designs. So, and that's why you have the solid head, like the solid part up in the half of the worm, and the same with the timber craw. You got your solid piece here, and then your action on the back.
Yeah.
And I forgot to say this though, but if you guys are big into like wide gap hooks, and this is the ribs are great for text posing. So you pick it up, put it on the rib, and now it's weedless. So
That's awesome.
any other thoughts, Todd, on the smaller one?
I just say there's multiple uses for it. Like I don't know if a lot of you do, like I have, is have spinner baits that the skirts tear off of them. Well, if you can see that, that's one of the things that I've done with it, married it up, and I mean it's awesome. They run great. What else? I think they got this little chatterbait. It's a little jig head with a little willow blade front on it. I can't remember what the name of it is, but these work awesome on those.
I wouldn't be afraid to throw it for redfish too, by the way,
Yeah.
what you just picked up. But real quick, if you, I got the side-by-side for the chatterbaits.
Bring it up on the full screen, Sean, so you can see him.
Yeah, let me.
So I'm doing a side-by-side here. Oh, am I still on there, Todd?
You're good. I just dropped everybody off.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. So, two schools of thought here. So you got your chatterbait with the craw, and you got your chatterbait with like a swim bait or a fluke style bait. This all depends on the type of chatterbait you use. This one is going to be really good for hunting more. And hunting, by what I mean by that is if you have a certain chatterbait that wants to kind of go around like this, and that swim bait will just be more of like a supplement. It'll just kind of do the dance with the chatterbait. So if you're going to want to hunt more and it kind of go back and forth depending on your chatterbait. And what you'll find too is a lot of these are good on a little more open water as it rolls, because it's not going to stay up as much because, like I said, it's going to be hunting. Now, if you're starting to throw more around thicker grass and stuff, you can use like the timber craw in the back, and it's going to help keep it up. It's going to keep it from hunting a little more. It won't hunt quite as much as like a straight tail or like my swim bait. This will help it keep it up more. And if you bump into weeds or into stumps and stuff, it's going to help, not extremely, but noticeably, it won't roll as much to grab onto the weeds and things like that. So it'll help it stay upright like this horizontally. And then, like I said, this will help you hunt more. And if they're on a good bait fish bite, this is a little different, longer profile versus like the scooting of a crayfish or whatnot. So that's just kind of something to think about when you're throwing chatterbaits. Two schools of thought with
Speaking of chatterbaits, John, what chatterbaits do you tend to go towards?
Well, I have some that aren't market ones. I have some tungsten ones that I use personally.
Cool.
But here's just the original chatterbait, and it's the chatterbait. The original chatterbait has a patent on the blade attaching fixed to the eye, so you're going to get the action right away. There's the ones that have the O-ring in between, and there's nothing wrong with those. It's just there was a functional patent on it actually being fixed to the jig head eye, and it'll just, as soon as you get it going, it'll start chattering. So
cool. I know Bailey is a big believer in the slobber knocker. Is that the one that you like, Bailey?
Yeah. So I paired the slobber knocker up to one of the timber craws for the tow event, and I pre-fished with it. It was thrown around trying to get a feel of what I was going to use for it, and I came across and I caught some quality fish using the slobber knocker in the past, like 6 or 7 months. I went from the original to the slobber knocker, and it's going to be hard for me to go back to it just because I've just the amount of hookup ratio that I've had with that versus the others. And I know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about it hunting and rolling over, or it rolling over. I was throwing the timber crawl on the black and blue timber crawl on one of the jig heads, or the vibrating jigs, and you notice it's a remark. It is, for me, for what I'm used to throwing, and the trailers that I'm used to throwing, it is a lot different, because I was having that issue of like it not being, I guess for me, buoyant or whatever, trying to find that sweet spot, that speed. You can tell when cut, because we do fish a lot of cover and around a lot of grass edges. It is noticeably different from the some of the other trailers and the durability of the plastic. I'm a huge fan of, because like you said, you don't put salt in it. The durability of that plastic is by far, it's still on there right now, and that was from 3 weeks ago. I'll change it out for Kissimmee, but yeah, they're really good. I love it. I love the black and blue. And so that's what I've stuck with, and I will be throwing a white flute, or one of the white thresher on Kissimmee as well. So now
Have
that I
you?
know that it's a
Sorry.
flute. No, you're fine. You're good.
No, I was gonna say I'm trying to get Bailey convinced, but I throw a lot of stick baits. I've thrown like the spunk shad on a chatterbait. That's what I'm gonna do with the Striker 4.0. I wanna try it, because I'm a fan of throwing a stick bait on the back of a chatterbait. That's kind of my thing. And yeah, I think that's gonna be fire. I got my hands. Sorry, my daughter's getting ice out of the ice machine back there. Can you stop? No, I lost my train of thought, but I got my hands on the baits over at Bailey's house a couple weekends ago. But the durability and the baits themselves are high quality, so it's pretty awesome to see that. And I that's what I'm gonna do with the Striker 4.0, is I'm gonna throw it on the back of a chatterbait and try it that way. So.
They are awesome. It gives it it's really cool to watch it come through the water, and it will move a little bit, and then but that little tail is just, I mean, giving it that little bit of action. It's awesome. It is awesome.
I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, and also, John, just so you know, we're each tournament that we do, we are giving away some of your product to our anglers.
Good.
So John did donate quite a bit of his product to us in variety packs. Our first tournament that when we received them was Toho, and for those of you that come to those post-tournament meetups that we have, where we give away the checks and stuff, we are giving away some of the Torrent Outdoors soft plastics for the rest of the year. So some was donated, and then again, for our club, we're a huge proponent of, like, if you're going to donate stuff to us, we're going to provide you with business as well. So we're going to continue that. But also for some of the anglers, we've seen them dropping comments in here. They can't wait to get their hands on some. John, we're going to add your website to our members only page, to where they can utilize that to go on and order some and start purchasing. Because at the end of the day, they're sponsoring us, but it's our job as anglers to utilize that product and then post about it, do reviews on it, so that it can help promote Torrent Outdoors in the kayak community, and especially down here in Florida. There's some bait stores down here that might be very interested in acquiring some of your products, so I can reach out to you about that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But, yeah, definitely really good product, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some of our anglers post some pictures with some big fish coming up, because last weekend, from all the Facebook pictures I was seeing and posts I was seeing, there were some huge fish caught here in the Central Florida area, and what better way for some product, kind of getting your name out there than seeing it being caught by your bait. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, real quick before we leave the Striker 4.0, I'll show you how I catch crappie here.
Hey,
so
what
live
is that?
So this is just a crappie head. This is like I forgot what size this is, but all I do is, if you look at the size here, I take off about an inch.
Oh, wow.
Take an inch off, put a crappie jig, and I catch the fire out of crappie. That right there, you throw that over the top of a brush pile, and then as they come, you slowly bring it up, There's no problem for a 10-inch, even an 8-inch, but I go for 10-inch and above crappie. They suck that right in. So that's a side note for y'all that are on here that fish for crappie. If you have some old 4.0s that are tore up a little bit, put them in your crappie box.
That's
They
awesome.
work. They work. And then to finish off, there's my cousin jumped on. You should see that. He's from Florida. If you read that little post he just put, he sent me a lot of ocean fish with my baits.
And there's
That's
a
awesome.
ton of anglers that we have in our club that fish both fresh and saltwater. We have Daniel Carnes, who's with Van Hunks. He's their pro staff. He does both freshwater and saltwater, and is always posting pics of some sweet fish he catches. So,
If you want me to talk about the last bait I have right now, so I have the 4.2, and I showed you to go from paddle tail to the fluke. I have right here is my 6.5. Okay. And the 6.5-inch Thresher swim bait is probably my favorite bait to throw. When those big fish start moving up for us in this area, and they're already up for you guys, I know there's multiple spawns and things like that. Do not be afraid to throw a bigger swim bait because they will destroy it. It is some of the fun. I know a lot of it's hard to replace a frog bite. Like, I get that. I treat this like a frog bite. When I see that plastic disappear, it's that same kind of feeling when it smokes a frog, and you give it that second, and then you load up on them. But I designed this the same exact way as a 4.2. I designed it to hold a 7/0 hook. This is, if you look at it on the front, it's got a slit down the middle and then the slit on the belly. Not too deep, because some of them are too deep. And when you set the hook on one, it rips the hook right through it. And so there's a fine line between how deep of slits you need for getting good hookup ratio, but also not ripping through it on the first fish. So again, it's not exact science, but I tried with my best ability to design a bait that would hold a big hook that will give you a good hookup ratio, but also not rip every time you set the hook. And this one is just a gambler one. My friend Wade gave it to me, and it's got just a little weight. It's an 1/8 ounce, but you'll notice that it's got a blunt head on the front of this swim bait. And because of the reason I did the blunt head was for the screw lock. And if you look at the size of the screw lock, oh, that's not the one. Sorry. It's this one I replaced. Size of the screw lock here. This should be it. You're going to want a screw lock that's a little bit longer. So this one's about 1 inch. A lot of them are real small in diameter and basically will just rip out. I design it just like the little one to have a blunt head. That makes it easy to go ahead and get and this is good with the center pin. If you guys are trying to rig straight onto a swim bait, look for the center pin. You put the center pin right dead center, and then you just work on your screw lock. And you get that one. And this one, like I said, is really long. You get it all the way up like that snug. And now you got it on that bait, and it's not going to just rip out the first time. And the length of the slit, you notice the little tail or the little fin there. It's like a baby shark, thresher shark. It's going to be perfect for lining up a 7/0 hook, coming out perfect right there in front of that fin and laying down in that slit.
oh wow!
Just like all my baits, it's going to have the durability and transition to the action. The reason I wanted the smooth body in the front, especially for the big one, is I skipped this way under docks. I skipped this back under overhanging trees. I skipped that thing and I did a video a while back on my Facebook. I think it was just a short little video showing how my setup for skipping. But I could skip that in front of the dock, and it can go 30, 40 feet underneath the dock. I mean, you can really yank it. And you're going after fish that many people don't fish for. and if they see a big old bait like this swimming through, they're going to smoke it. You can pair it with an underspin. That's a good way to do it as well. If there's a few people that fish deeper lakes and the fish move onto ledges, you put a big jig head on this. Tennessee River got real popular with the big scrounger heads. You can do the same thing. Pull the paddle tail off, and you got a big stick swim bait. Sorry, with just a straight tail for the scrounger head. What else? What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, you can burn this across the top. You can make this a topwater. When I first was testing it up in northern Wisconsin, I couldn't keep northern pike off of it. I was burning across lily pads, and it was just explosion after explosion. And I only had so many prototypes, so I had to stop because they were biting them off and things like that. So, so there you got the fin here, and like I said, it'll wake across the top. I really feel like I'm just rambling on. I apologize.
No, that's awesome.
Oh no, that's exactly what we were hoping that you would get in and kind of explain the thought process and how to use it, right? Because a lot of us this is different. So we haven't seen stick baits like that. But I'll let you finish what you're about to say.
Yeah. So if you look at the way the body's made, it's not tall. You notice that? Some of those bigger swim baits are taller.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that too is you can burn this and it won't roll. Now you have to make sure when you rig the hook on that it's pretty straight. So you have to, like I said, it could roll depending on how you rig it. But if you get it straight in line like that, you can burn that pretty fast and your baits won't roll over. It'll just streamline. So if you're trying to burn it on anything, that's a good way to do it. But guys, I'm telling you, you skip this under those docks or under overhanging trees and slow roll that out. They're violent strikes. It's a lot of fun.
I have a pack of those. I might tie one on and see how it does this weekend.
Yeah, and if you get a little dirtier water, dip this little section right here in chartreuse. You'll see a contrast when that thing's moving. A contrast gives that idea of like a blade or a flash, and those fish they'll smoke it. So, I said I was going to bring this back up. I got my buddy Wade. He has a company called Thunder Rocket Lures, and he just released. This is a functional patent pending called a Thunder Rocket. And it basically is a blade that causes like turbulence as it spins, but it's got a chamber with rattles. So what you got here now is probably the only spinner bait I'll ever throw. It's called the Thunder Bait. Here's kind of here's his packaging. So he's got the Thunder Bait. His company's it's ripped off here, but it's Thunder Rocket Lures, and his slogan is "Make Some Noise." And this thing is gonna kill him. I put a Thresher 4.2 on the back, and that rattling. And I know you guys got those gold shiners, right, Florida? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
So my question is, how do we get our hands on one of those? Because I bought one of his A rigs.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Yes, phenomenal. Where does one buy? Because I bought that off of your website.
Yes. So he basically launched in 2023. So right before then, we did like a little bundle where I was selling the A rigs with a pack of threshers. And so now he's transitioned and he's got a website. So just go to thunderrocketlures.com.
Okay, we'll put that on our Facebook page as well, because we got a lot of folks in our club that utilize a spinnerbait, and that right there can be a game changer, my friend.
Yeah, you get that little bit of rain or that wind coming in, and it dirties up that water. That rattle will help them find it through the grass, through the reeds. I mean, I would slow roll this through. Slow roll this through lily pads. You name it.
I think our club members, our anglers, know a little thing about wind here recently. So, I think that and if I'm not mistaken, someone who won that event was throwing a spinner bait. So,
and that rattle element, I mean, they tried to do it in the past, but he knocked out of the park with this chamber. It's basically like the body of a crankbait. That's what it's
Yeah.
made out of.
Yeah, and that's the same thing on the A-Rig too, similar. But
Yep.
I don't think the A-Rig has beads in it, does it?
Yep.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Sure does. Matter of fact, I was just out last Monday, and the water dirtied up a little bit, and I caught a nice largemouth throwing this. And this is called his Thunder Rig. And
So I seen a lot of posts on your Facebook page of people catching giants and a lot of fish on that same setup right there.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is he's got one too. It's all white and it's got a clear one. And
wow.
So with that cleaner water and they start schooling, I mean, you're running that through and it's rattling and it's flashing. There's going to be a lot of fish caught on this.
What's the weight on that? Do you know the weight for
I think it's close to a ½ ounce. So I'm glad you brought that up. If Wade's on here, can you put that in the chat? This head is not made out of lead. It's it's titanium, I think. I might be wrong there. He might have to make a comment there. Yeah, I mean he's got baits like this. He just is releasing. It's a black one for night fishing. He's got one for night fishing, rattling, black one. And if you're a night fisherman, I don't think there could be a better bait than slow rolling that, you know. So,
no doubt.
And so then said zinc alloy is the make
thank
of
you.
the head.
Yep, thank you, zinc alloy.
And I'd love to get in contact with him as well and see about purchasing some of those to give out to some of our anglers as well. I think that'd be awesome because a lot of our guys and gals that we have in our club, spinnerbait is a essential tool.
This is like Gunnersville. If anyone goes to Gunnersville in the springtime, that's gonna be deadly. But he's got you should jump on there and see what he has to offer. Another thing I'm gonna do, and I've talked about this before, there's the clear one is all white. I'm actually gonna put the big swim bait on it. And I'm gonna throw that thing on ledges. I might have some Nashville folks on here listening, but I'm telling you right now, I'm in the summertime or early post spawn. I'm throwing that thing out in deep water, letting this get to the bottom, and I'm slow rolling and ticking the bottom with the clear one just ticking, and then this thing just kicking. It's gonna be fun fish catches. So
that's gonna be awesome. No, that I've been meaning to ask and try to figure out where we could get some more of that. After I lost my rig in Lake Toho, I was like, I need to get another one. So I'm gonna reach out. We will put his website if you want to share that with us, John. We'll put that information on our Facebook page so you guys can utilize that link. Oh, and Todd dropped it in the comment sections comment as well. We'll post and share both of your websites again on our page, and you guys go out there and get you guys some of these awesome baits that John has just spent the last hour going over really in depth, and that's awesome. That was fantastic.
One other quick thing, I know we're tight on time here. Got to run through. One thing John didn't show was his, was his jig. So what's cool with this jig is you can use it multiple different ways. You can swim it, you can just, drop it, hop it, drag it, and it's a tungsten head. So you got the line tie set up just right for swimming it as well. So, for here you could be swimming it around some edges, and then you got a big bare spot that you can, or some cover that you want to throw it into. So it's an awesome jig head.
Thanks, Todd. And those are usually limited quantities. So I usually almost every year I sell out by the end of about mid-February, end of January. All my tungsten usually sells out. So
we bought some to give. We gave away 3 of them at Lake Toho. So and then we don't have any more. we bought out what we could, and then if you have any more, we'll place another order here soon.
Yeah, it's again, I'm a soft plastics company, and I offer tungsten because that's what I fish, and it pairs well with my stuff. So,
absolutely. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on and educating us, because I think this is really going to help a bunch of us out, and I know it does me. We've talked this for quite some time, and I've still learned some new stuff tonight. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for being part of our club and help supporting us, not only us, but the youth that is coming up in the sport. We really appreciate, good men like yourself that care about the sport and the people coming up in it.
Yeah, most definitely, John. Yeah, like you said, that whenever he talked about you, the first thing I did is looked it up. And when it says venture with a purpose, and I read your guys' backstory about a family business, like that's what we're about. Like that's for us, that's what we kind of want. We want us to become a family of fishermen, essentially, and foster that community to help one another that need help and learn. Right, we could all learn something new, and that's why it's great bringing on the folks that sponsor us and bringing in the soft plastics to teach us about their baits, but also what your purpose is and what that means. And we know that you're normally in the bass boat, but extending that out to us in the kayak community, hopefully we're able to bring an added benefit to you by utilizing your baits and reaching a different market of anglers. So that's our goal. We're going to share the crap out of your website and your vision, and hopefully you see that on your end. So
I really appreciate the time. And like we said earlier, one of my team guys, Ethan Jett, will be down there. So if you see him, say hi and talk to him. And he's been a part of our company for a little bit, and he can.
We're bringing him on, right, Todd? He's going to be on our live when he comes down here with Todd. So
okay,
he's going to be on in mid-February, whatever that is. So.
Well, no matter what, bass boat or kayak, we all have a passion for fishing and for the outdoors.
Exactly.
And I pray that we have a passion for the one that's created all that. So
exactly.
So that's part of the whole focus of Venture with Purpose. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was just gonna echo what these guys. I appreciate it. Anytime you're down here, we're more than welcome to take you out and join us. Like Chris and Todd were saying, we're just trying to build a stronger community down here by creating this club and creating a good product. And we couldn't do it without the anglers and the sponsor support. So I appreciate it. And I was going to echo the durability piece of the plastic. I know a lot of people are getting into it. I think COVID made the bait making game huge in the community. I saw it explode, but the durability of the plastic definitely is increased when you pull salt out of it. Now there's companies obviously that's made their name by adding salt in the plastic, and we all know who they are. But yeah, but for sure, the durability of plastic is greatly increased by just not adding salt and using the right plastisol and everything. So just getting my hands on the baits. I haven't really fished them a lot yet, but I know I got my hands on them over at Bailey's house, and we went out fished together a little bit. So I'm looking forward to getting them in the boat more and crushing some fish on that crawl with behind a swim jig. So
there you go.
And one thing I'm going to say, and I talked to John about this, if you're out there utilizing the Torrent Outdoors, like their soft plastics, their crawls and stuff, and any fish you catch, take a picture of it, send it to us, a video. If we have anglers that go out there and they live stream or they video their stuff, by all means, if you guys want that, you share that to us, and we're going to share that with John, and he can use that as far as some of his promotions. We're going to do that. I know I'm working on that production piece myself. So we can send you some of that footage and videos and photos that you can use on marketing and stuff as well, if that's something you would like to do. But also if you have, anglers that are the younger generation that might want to fish from a kayak, also, let us know. We'd love to kind of share that knowledge as well. I know bass boat is pretty easy, but if you have anglers that are, wanting to fish from a kayak, I know Tennessee, they're all over. KBFTN, they have kayak anglers. So we're going to we'll try to do our best down here to spread that as well. So. Yeah.
Awesome. John,
good.
Anything else you want to share?
Just thanks for the time. I know it's a lot of information in a little bit, but as you guys support us and as we grow, we release a lot more things. And I'm just a fisherman first in this situation. So I have a lot more drawings on my notebook. So as you support us, we'll create more.
Yeah. Oh, no, we definitely plan on supporting and doing our part.
Hopefully a thresher comes out in like the size of my Depths 250, like a 10-inch thresher.
I'm a muskie fisherman, Sean. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I grew up near.
muskie on it already too.
Oh, have you?
A lot of tiger muskies already by there.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up in West Virginia, but I lived in Wisconsin for a little bit at one point. My wife's from Wisconsin, so.
Wow.
That's
Great,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
But that's it. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
sir.
man. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, John,
Appreciate
it was a
you
pleasure.
taking your time.
Yep,
Yeah.
of course.
Excellent.
See you later, John. And we'll stay on here and kind of talk a little. Yep. See you later, John. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later, but we're going to stay on here and we're going to do some Lake Okeechobee registration. Talk a little bit about the upcoming tournament. Sean will go over a little bit of the boundaries here in a minute. If you guys didn't see the post on Facebook, registration is open on Fishing Chaos. So go there, make sure that you go in there, register. If I'm going to create a post after this live, just to say, hey, who plans on going, just so, and it's going to have a poll on there of where you guys want to do the post tournament meetup. If it's not at a restaurant, we can pick a boat ramp. So that's not out of discussion, but it's going to be a north, central, or south area of the lake. That's what I'm going to break it down to. So that kind of narrows the area that I'm looking to host the post event meetup, because it is a large lake. We have people fishing on the east side of the lake, west side, north, and so they're going to be fishing all over, and it does take time. So to narrow that down, that might help with your selection on where you decide you're going to fish from. Just so that it eliminates you having to leave early to get to the post-event meetup in the event that you are, in the top 3 or whatever, and are planning on coming to it. So that'll be posted after this live stream. But yeah, registration's open. And then Sean, if anything you'd like to cover for the boundaries.
No, I'll pull it up here in a second. Mainly, I have a list of boat ramps straight off the Corps of Engineers page. The FWC page wasn't working for me. I understand the Corps of Engineers, it's access to Lake Okeechobee, right? It has a majority of them on them, but I think specifically the launches on Herbert Hoover Dike aren't specifically specified. So any public boat launch ramp, any public ramp that offers you access into Lake Okeechobee, all right, is going to be open. I'm going to publish the list. I understand there may be a few. Just glancing at the list real quick, maybe there's an exact name that Google Maps isn't specifying, but I know there's at least 3 off Herbert Hoover Dike that aren't specified on the Corps of Engineers pages. So I'm going to, just to clarify, any public ramp that leads you into Lake Okeechobee is eligible to be launched from. All right. And let me try and share this.
Real quick, Sean is going to, we're saying it in the lives. We're making sure that we say it on each live that we do leading up to the event. Everything we're saying right now that Sean is saying, we are going to put in writing. It will be posted on our Facebook page and in the Fishing Chaos registration by the end of this week.
Let me see. Let me try and pull this up. How do you guys see that?
We see it. It's
all right. Yeah. So I'm going to try and give you a rundown on this and not make it too confusing, but the rim canal, the canals outside the levee of Lake Okeechobee are out of play. So if you're inside the levee, it's open to fish. All right. Down here, example, we have the lock coming right out of the Clewiston boat ramp or Roland Martin Marina. So you have to fish on the inside of the lock. All right. These marks on the map are not ramps. They're not ramps. These are just points, boundary lines throughout the map that I'm going to post. So if you go, I believe the road's like 78. A lot of these marks cross up underneath 78 where you can leave Lake Okeechobee and cross underneath a bridge or a road. You have to stay on the inside of the lake. All right. If that makes sense. This is the Kissimmee River. You can fish up to Route 78, but you can't cross underneath Route 78. So inside the levee, Taylor Creek up here, you can fish up to the point where there's a lock. You have to stay on the inside of Lake Okeechobee. Taylor Creek's out of play. I hope that's clear enough. I think it's pretty clear inside the levee, and you can't cross up underneath Route 78 to go underneath. Let me stop this and go to Google Maps real quick and zoom in on some of these spots.
So, real quick, Timothy said it's missing the ramp at Torrey Island. Yeah, those weren't the ramps that he was. Those blue boxes or check marks were not the ramps. Those were just boundary points.
All right, so like that dot, you have to stay on this side of the lock. This is down at Clewiston Boat Ramp, Roland Martin Marina. Example.
So if you're on the west side of the lake, you want to stay east of the lock.
So you can't fish this down here, right by Alvin Ward Park. You have to fish on the rim canal side of the lake. So this rim canal is eligible water inside the levee. You can't cross underneath 78 right here. I don't even think you can get through there, but I have it marked anyways. Route 78, you have to stay inside Lake Okeechobee. This is Herbert Hoover Dike boat launch right here. So if you came out and headed west, you could get back in this canal and cross under 78. You cannot cross under 78. All right. I don't think you can get through there. This canal on the outside of the levee is out of play, and I'll have all that highlighted in that photo. I have a PowerPoint already created with this highlighted. You can't fish this canal. Herbert Hoover Dike launch is eligible launch. This canal going up along the west side of the lake is out of play. If you're inside the levee, there is a canal. I don't know how choked out it is, but if you want to fish that, it's fair game. Moving up to the west side of the lake, you have this canal, Indian Prairie Levee. You can fish up to 78, but you can't cross under 78. You can see it leads you all the way out to the main lake, Okeechobee. Then we have the Kissimmee River up here. You have to stay on the south side of 78. You can fish up to the bridge, but not past the bridge. And we have Taylor Creek up here to the north. You have to stay south. You can't enter up in the Taylor Creek and fish all these canals and boat ramps back there.
So I have a question, Sean, just in case the angler might ask. You can launch from one of the boat launch. You just can't fish in those areas. Are they able to launch from there to get to Lake Okeechobee?
Correct. If it's a launch that provides you access to main Lake Okeechobee, even if it's on the outside, if you have to come through a lock to get into Lake Okeechobee, that's fine. To fish, you have to be inside main Lake Okeechobee. All right. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I'm going to read one more thing. So boat ramps, if you go on the Corps Engineers website or FWC website, this list I'm reading off right now is not all inclusive. I'm going to add to it for the Fishing Chaos write-up, but this is FWC website's not working for me right now, so I did Corps of Engineers. We got Alvin L. Ward Senior Park. It's a 24-hour day boat ramp, no ramp fee. Bear Beach Recreation Area, C. Scott Driver Rec Area, Canal Point Rec Area, Chansey Bay, Clewiston City Park, Fish Eating Creek, Harney Pond, Henry Creek, Indian Prairie Canal Rec. Let's see, JC Park, Liberty Point, Uncle Joe's Fish Camp. That's a $5 fee. The Marina RV Resort Rec Area. That's a $3 fee. Okeechobee Recreation Park, Pahokee Marina and Campground, Paul Rardin, South Bay Rec Area, Torrey Island Rec Area. All right, so that's on the Corps of Engineers page. I understand Herbert Hoover Dike launch is not on there. There's another Herbert Hoover. If you go to Clewiston, You got the Clewiston boat ramp. You got Roland Martin Marina. Then if you get up on top of the levee, if you pulled in the Clewiston public boat ramp, there's access to the top of the levee. There's another boat ramp also on Herbert Hoover Dike out of Clewiston. The other Herbert Hoover Dike's over on the southwest corner of Lake Okeechobee. Leads you into the monkey box area of Lake O. And there's a few others. I will specify all those. Those are the ones published at the Corps of Engineers website. Once FWC website comes up, I'll finish that. And we'll drop it in the Fishing Chaos description, the Facebook members only group. And I don't see any questions coming through. Just let me know if that's not clear. We're going to cover this again during the captain's meeting. As always, you guys are more than welcome to call me. You guys have both my phone numbers. They're posted on the members only page. Just give me a call if there's any clarification that you need for pre-fishing. You guys can call me anytime. It doesn't bother me. I'll answer all hours of the day. So, any questions from you guys or anybody on the live? That's all I have right now. I think that's pretty clear. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Again, for our visual folks and individuals that didn't really that aren't watching this live, everything to follow coming up. Everything Lake Okeechobee is going to be on Facebook here in the next day or so. We're just making sure everything looks good and dotting our I's and crossing our T's. So before we start providing you guys that information, but yeah, and pending any questions with that, I'll kind of hit one more thing. Todd and I are working to get a Florida Kayak Bass Trail t-shirt pre-order. Can you pull that picture up of the shirt, Sean? Are you able to do that while I'm talking?
Give me 1 second and I'll do it for you.
So I'll go ahead and hit on a little bit. We got some pre-orders from a number of anglers. We're trying to get to that 50, that order of 50, so that we can hit a good price point to keep the prices low for you guys to catch or to get them and represent our club. Todd, would we be able to do long sleeves for a different price?
Yeah, we can do long sleeves. Absolutely.
Okay. So if you guys want, and if you guys placed your pre-order already and you would like a long sleeve option, get with me. But same color, it'll be the same design, just in a short sleeve and a long sleeve. So send me a message. We're trying to get these things ordered as soon as possible, or get the order placed as soon as possible, so that we can get it in your hands. But this is what Todd and the crew has come up with: a smaller logo on the front, or FKBT on the front with the our larger logo on the back. These are just the colors that we have put up there. But if you have a specific color that you'd like to request, let us know. Send Todd a message directly, and he would be able to let you know if he can provide that to you. There is a post on our Facebook page. I'm going to repin it just so that you guys can look at it. Comment on that, please. If you do want to place an order for a short sleeve or long sleeve shirt. We're going to get that ordered. The goal is to have them ordered. We're going to shut down pre-orders by next Tuesday. So that gives us a week for our last final push on this. We are going to be placing, the club is going to be buying some extras, and the price is going to be a little bit different from if you get them during the pre-order. So make sure, if you want to rep get one of these shirts and rep them, then you're going to get a better deal. They're still not going to be too expensive. But again, when we purchase them and we have to ship them out, or vice versa, there's some additional cost to those. But yeah, I see someone might have dropped a comment in there. So I think Will already placed an order. So we will, I'll get with me, Will, after this, and we'll get you squared away, with that. So yeah, that's all I have. Kayak cushions. The order was sent to Brandon with kayak cushion, last week. Waiting to hear back on him as far as like what the expected timeline is for that. I'll send him an email tomorrow morning, and I'll put an estimated delivery for that. So hopefully we can have them before our Lake Okeechobee, so I can hand them out. That's not a guarantee. Don't That's not a guarantee. But I'll ask him what that expected timeline is for us to be able to get those. And I will post that as soon as I get it. But they have been, the order has been placed. So, and the club did buy a couple extras to sell. But again, it will be more than what the pre-order price was, just because of the shipping and everything that we're having to, the additional costs that we're having to take on as a club. So that's all I have. Todd, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think that sums it all up. It was a great show. Really enjoyed having John on, learned a lot, and looking forward to more of these with our sponsors on here.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed what you saw tonight, Sorry, Sean. No, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say one more thing.
It's delayed. All right. So if you guys like what you saw today, sorry for the delay and the confusion. If you saw what you liked today and you want more of it, we're gonna have a Rogue on, like I said, what was it gonna be? February, March?
Mid-February.
We're gonna have him on. He's gonna talk about some of his awesome products. We're reaching out to some 13 Fishing has already said that they want to come on. We've already had Van Hunks that has come on board and kind of talked earlier on in the season. We plan on bringing them back and speaking with Daniel a little bit more on some of the stuff that they plan on doing for 2023. So if you guys like what you see or what you saw tonight, drop it in the comment section. But that's what we plan to do. And if you guys have ideas on what we can do to kind of bring our community together and our family together, let us know. We'd love to share that and ultimately promote learning, right? We want to be better fishermen. We want to get the tips and tricks that these pros have to being successful, so that whenever we're competing against them, we can have a competitive edge. It's not so much of a competitive edge in their favor. We already have some fantastic anglers already in our group from the kayak standpoint that are, in my opinion, some of the best in the state. So that's already an added benefit for a lot of us, beginner anglers or beginner anglers that are competing, because it's different. I fish for fun is different than competitively fishing, right? So we're testing our ability to fish every single time we're out on the water because of the quality of anglers that are in our club. And next year we're probably going to have just as much. And that's what makes, to me, the sport so amazing, right? I get to fish this weekend against some of the best kayak anglers in the nation, right? That are coming down to Florida to fish, right? There's nothing more I like to do. That's not that I'm so excited. And I know there's quite a few anglers in our club that are planning to fish the KBF event for Polk County. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there representing our club. If you got a merchandise, you got a hat, you got a jersey, go out there and wear it, represent. And then hopefully we get to see one of us up on the big stage collecting a check on Saturday and Sunday, and getting your name and our name out there as a club. So that's all I got. Sean, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, I went on a rant.
No, am I delayed anymore? Or am I good?
You're good.
You were delayed before, for real.
I think because I had way too much pulled up on the screen. I had like 7 screens running simultaneously. No, but so what I was going to share, I'm not going to pull it up because I'm pulling too much bandwidth right now, running a lot of stuff. But FWC, if you go to FWC Boat Ramp Finder and scroll down, it's going to say Find Boat Ramp. Lake Okeechobee is one of those spots. It's a huge body of water and has a ton of ramp access. And when you pull that up, it's going to load a map, and you're going to zoom in, and it's going to be auto-selected open ramps, closed ramps. And if you zoom in, they're going to be, I believe it's red and blue. Red's closed, blue's open. And if you highlight one of those maps and you click on it, it's going to tell you it's open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free public access, or there's a charge. It may specify, it may not. So that's going to be a great tool for you guys to use if you've never used it before. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. A lot of you guys have lived in Florida a lot longer than I have, but that's a tool I use, and it's going to come in handy here because there's a lot of access, and there's some access that's closed, like South Bay Boat Ramp. It's been closed. I haven't checked it because I quit trying to go to it, but it's been closed at least 2.5 years I've been here for repairs. Maybe be open back up. I kind of just don't even go to South Bay Boat Ramp anymore. So use that. If you have a question whether it's eligible or not, just like I said, just give me a call, shoot me a message, and I'll get back to you. I'll be up in Georgia starting tomorrow, so if I don't answer right away, I'll answer within probably 6 hours if I'm busy. But other than that, I think it's pretty clear. Hopefully that helps you guys coming in. You'll see the post. I'll post the picture, the screenshot I took with all the Google Map points on it. That's just kind of points where you could accidentally depart Lake Okeechobee and be on out of bounds water. Really, if you stay inside the levee, you don't cross underneath 78 or go through a lock leaving main Lake Okeechobee, you're gonna be good. All right, and that's about all I got for you guys. Thanks for coming on. I know it's been an hour and 36 minutes and counting. Appreciate you guys sticking it out and supporting Torrent and all our sponsors that have hopped on and joined this club with us. And that's all I have. Have a good night. Hopefully you guys have a good day or good work week. It's going to be a long weekend for me of working, no fishing. So
good
happy
luck
birthday,
to everyone
Bailey.
who's competing. Yep. Thank you guys again. Yeah. Thanks for all the happy birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. That's no better way than spending my 30th birthday on a live stream, talking fishing and getting to hang out with you guys. Looking forward to getting to fish this weekend. I didn't get to fish last weekend. I got to see a lot of big fish being caught. Jealous. Excited for this weekend, though. So if you're out fishing this weekend, be safe. Tight lines. Go win some money. If you're at the KBF, stop by and say hi. Hit me up. I'll be out there, hopefully catching fish. If I'm not catching fish, you're probably going to see me on the highway somewhere heading home, upset. So
Bring
good
you a
luck
check
out
home,
there.
buddy.
Hey,
Bring you a
I'm
check
gonna
home.
do my best. If it's like it was the last time I was out there, I should be in good hands. So be
Yeah.
safe out there. If it's windy like it was last weekend and the weekend before, let's just be smart, be safe. Let's go out there, catch some fish, have some fun, and share the sport. Share the love of the sport with your friend and your neighbor and get them out there on a kayak and start fishing. So
Peace out.